Hello and welcome to video 2 for today. Please make sure that you've watched video 1 before watching this video. Thank you. Okay, let's see how you got on. Okay, so I've started it for us and then we're going to continue working through it together for you to check your answer. So first thing, like we said, was to work out the capacity of the tank. And the way that I would do that is by doing 12 times 12 times 16.5. Okay, what I've done here is I know that 12 times 12 is 144. So then what we need to do, and hopefully you've done, is 144 multiplied by 16.5. Okay, so we're going to do this now. So 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, I've got my decimal point here. I've got my 2. Then 4 times 5 is 20. Add my 2 is 22. And then 1 times 5, add my 2 is 7. Okay, so basically 144 times 0.5 gives me 72. Next, I'm going to do my ones. Okay, so 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. Add on my 2 is 26. And then 1 times 6 is 6, add on my 2 is 8. Okay, and then finally I'm multiplying by my 10. So I need to put my 0 in my placeholder. Then I'm doing, 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. Then I'm going to add those 3 numbers all together. Okay, anything after my decimal point is already 0, so that's fine, I can leave that. 2 add 4 is 6. 7 add 6 add 4 is 17. 8 add 4 is 12. Add on 1 is 13. And 1 add 1 is 2. So I get 2,376. Okay, so that's the capacity here. So we get 2,376 cubic centimetres. Okay, which when I then convert to litres, hopefully you got 2.376 litres. Okay, we know that there's 1.75 litres already in the container. So to work out how much more, what I then need to do is subtract 1.75. Okay, which I'm just going to set out here with a subtraction. Make sure you align your digits accurately because otherwise you'll end up getting the wrong answer. So I've got 6 subtract nothing is 6. 7 subtract 5 is 2. 3 subtract 7 I can't do. So I regroup. And then 13 subtract 7 is 6. My decimal point. 1 subtract 1 is 0. Okay, so the amount of water needed to fill the container to the brim in litres is 0.626 litres. Okay, so really well done. Okay, and then the final type of question that we're going to go through together today. I know that some of these questions, okay, are a little bit tricky, but it's really important that we break them down. Okay, so we need to remember that the first question we went through was just working out the capacity of the container. The second type we went through, okay, we were told that there was a particular amount of water already in the containers. So we had to work out the capacity and then subtract the amount of water already in there to find out how much is left. And then we've got this type. Okay, so let's have a look at this one now. So we've got a cubicle tank, okay, a cube with 21 centimetre edges. Okay, so each edge measures 21 centimetres. This time, rather than being told that there's however many litres in the container, we're told that it's 2/3 filled with water. The water in this tank is then poured into this tank, which measures 26 centimetres by 12.5 centimetres by 15 centimetres. So the water from this tank is poured into this tank, which measures differently, until it is full. And then we're asked how much water is left in this tank and to give our answers in millilitres. Okay, so the first thing we would need to do is work out the volume of this tank, okay, to find out the amount of water. In the example one here, they've done it as 2/3 times 21 times 21 times 21, okay. The way that I would work it out is to break this down into 2 steps. First thing I would do is almost forget about the fraction for now and just work out the volume of the whole container by doing 21 times 21 times 21. Okay, so I'm just going to work that quickly for us now. $9,261. So that tells me that this container has a total volume of 9,261 cubic centimetres. Now I would then think about the amount of water. Okay, so I'd be doing 2/3 times 9,261. Okay, to find out how much water is in there, because that is the total amount, but there's only 2/3. And there are 2 ways, when we were learning about fractions at school, 2 ways that you may have done this that I'm going to show you now. Okay, the first way is this way. So I've got 2/3 multiplied by 9,261. Okay, and because when I'm multiplying by fractions, okay, basically, because this is a whole, it's almost like it's over 1. Okay, so then what I would do is multiply my numerator, multiply my denominator. Okay, so I would do that working across. So I would do 2 times 9,261, which is 18,522. And then 3 times 1 is 3. So basically, I then need to do 18,522 divided by 3. So I'm going to set that out. Okay, so looking, 18 divided by 3. How many 3's go into 18 is 6. How many 3's go into 5? 1. And there are 2 left over. How many 3's in 22? 7. With 1 left over. And how many 3's in 12? 4. Okay, so it gives me an answer of 6,174 millilitres, which is what we worked out here. Okay, then the other way that I said, because I said that there were 2 ways, we've got 2/3. You can think of timesing a whole number just by doing 2/3 of 9,261. Okay, it is the same. Remember, when we're working out a fraction of an amount, okay, we divide by the denominator first. So I would do 9,261 divided by 3 first. How many 3's go into 9? 3. How many 3's go into 2? None, with 2 left over. How many 3's go into 26? Is 8. With 2 left over. And then how many 3's in 21 is 7. So it gives me 3,087. Then I multiply by 2. Okay, so 3,087 times by 2 gives me the answer of 6,174. Okay, so you can see here it gives me the same answer. So when you are faced with these types of questions, okay, you can choose which method works for you. Okay, either, okay, multiplying it across like fractions and then dividing it, or working it out as if it was 2/3 of. So divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. Okay, so that tells us how much water is in the tank, this tank. So that's 6,174 millilitres. Okay, we then have to, lots of steps to this question, have to then work out the capacity of this tank. Okay, how much water can it hold? Which we just simply do, like with question 1, working out 26 times 12.5 times 15, okay, which gives me the answer of 4,875, which when we convert into millilitres is 4,875 millilitres. So in this tank, there is 6,174 millilitres. This tank can hold 4,875 millilitres. So to work out when this water is poured into this container, how much is left here, I simply just need to subtract them, which gives me the answer of 1,299 millilitres. Okay, now our final question that we're going to work through together. Okay, so this one is similar to question 19. There is an extra bit that I'm going to talk through, but we're going to break it down into those easy steps for us. Okay, so we're told that we've got our tank, and it's a cuboid tank, so it's 15 centimetres long, 18 centimetres wide, and 30 centimetres high. And it is filled with water up to a quarter of its height. Okay, it then tells me something about the water flowing at 2.5 litres a minute. I want us to ignore that bit for the moment. Okay, what I'd like you to do is pause the video, and I first of all want you to calculate the capacity of the tank. So how much water can it hold altogether? To think about what you need to multiply. Then I want you to work out a quarter, because we're told that there's a quarter of the height, okay, is filled with water. So then once you've worked out this answer, I want you to work out a quarter of that answer, or like the other method that I showed you, to do a quarter times that answer. So pause the video and work out to this point here, please. Off you go. Okay, so first thing I asked you to do was to work out the capacity of the tank, which hopefully you did that by doing 15 times 18 times 30, which would have given you, you can check my calculations here, given you the answer of 8,100. Okay, then I asked you for step 2 to multiply this by a quarter, or you may have worked out a quarter of 8,100. I did a quarter times 8,100. Okay, would then give me 8,100 over 4. So I needed to divide that number by 4, which then, using my division method, gave me the answer of 2,025. So the volume of the tank is 2,025 cubic centimetres, which when I then convert into litres is 2.025 litres. So that tells me how much water is in that tank. Okay. Now I can look at the next part of the question. It's really important with these types of questions to break it down. So we are then told that water from a tap flows into the tank at 2.5 litres a minute. So for each minute the tap is on, 2.5 litres enter that tank. How much water is in the tank after 5 minutes? Okay, so first thing I need to do is work out the volume of water from the tap. Okay, so from the tap, I would do that by thinking, well, how much is a minute? So 2.5 litres is 1 minute. Okay, I want to know what 5 minutes is. So to do that, I would do 2.5 times 5. Okay, 2.5 times 5 is 12.5. Okay, so 12.5 litres of water go into that tank if the tap is on for 5 minutes. So now to work out how much is in total after 5 minutes, I need to add that amount to the amount that's already in there. So in there is 2.025 litres, and I need to add the amount that's added, which is 12.5 litres. And when I add those two amounts together, I get 14.525 litres. Okay, so that is how much water is in the tank after 5 minutes. Brilliant. Now I would like you to complete today's task. If you have a look in your team's work folder, I have attached a word problem prompt sheet that helps break each problem down for you. See you tomorrow for the answers.